Here we are. The office rather than the studio. I'm saying the office rather than the studio because I know there's lots of noises off. And then I've taken some footage of the plot next door. As, I'm still not sure whether we're going to sell that or sell half of it. Our thinking at the moment is that we will make the top part of the plot our garden and sell the lower half of it. From memory, it's 360 square meters. No, 660 square meters. 660 square meters. That's right, 660 square meters. Give or take 10, 20. And the top part, I'm thinking of keeping for ourselves. So that's somewhere approaching 300, and then sell 360 square meters at the lower half. The logic is that I want to protect the view to the sea. It's expensive, but never mind. Because I don't want a two-story house next to us at the top, so we lose our sight of the sea. I do love it here. I'm sitting looking out at palm tree leaves, albeit through steel grills, as if I'm imprisoned somewhere. There's a beautiful blue sky, lovely rich green leaves. It's, so pleased we're here. I wish we could have come here 2 or 3 years ago. Well, good morning from here in Naga, Cebu. I thought it was about time we got back to where we started from. When we first launched our channel, we called it The World of John. Not because John's the centre of the world, but because I wanted to celebrate everything that was around me. I feel as though I have a very privileged life. Very, very beautiful wife, lovely son. We had a nice house and all of that. We just wanted to be celebrating it and talking about our decision to move to the Philippines, because I think it's important that I offer something which is informative and which is useful. But you still can't get back to the detail of the anxieties in the moment as things are going right or wrong. You still can't get back to those little private moments as you go to sleep when you're wondering whether you're doing the right thing. Well, not so much you're doing the right thing, because we've always known we were, but whether it's going right or whether it's going wrong. We were talking about what we would do here in the Philippines in terms of income beyond my pensions. Particularly because we want something established for Risa. We thought that we would be buying and selling houses. Our experiences, which again I'm going to talk to you about in the next video or the one after, have put us off that idea a bit. At the moment, Risa's very, very keen to establish a massage business, so we are very, very keen, but not doing a lot, about exploring premises and looking at locations for that. Risa is checking out the requirements and to be able to establish that, and is making arrangements to become licensed for that. And I think the warning that I would give for anybody who's planning to emigrate is you need to plan, but your plans are useless. When I was teaching in the business school, I could not get this across to a lot of students. Planning is really, really important. And it's really important that you do it in detail and you think it through very, very carefully. But don't think you're going to achieve the plan. The idea of planning is to learn, to learn from the different scenarios that you create, to learn what it is that you need to be looking out for, to learn what's going to be a prompt to change your mind, to rethink. But just do not expect to deliver what it is that you've put in your plan. So that's the first thing. I have to change my fingers up. The second thing, friends and family. If you're emigrating, you've got to be thinking about how you will be when you've let go of the close relationships, the intimate day-to-day contact with your friends and your family. But also realize that your friends and your family network, your family contacts, are the greatest asset that you're going to have when you're planning and making the move. We could not have moved here without the support of Risa's sister and brother-in-law. DJ is an engineer, a construction engineer. He's a nice guy. He's quiet. He's a bit self-centered at times, but he has helped us so much through his network of contacts, through his own business in renovating this house for us at cost rather than having to pay somebody else to do it. And he's also been instrumental in somebody that we trust to act as our agent, to act as our attorney. Yeah, I think that's the right word. Here. But then, going back to my comment about planning, we tried very, very hard to coordinate dates for the sale or the rental of our house, for flights and one thing or another. And then lockdown came in. We had to leave the house 2 weeks before we could fly. Where are we going to stay? What are we going to do? And then, as you'll hear later on, or you'll have seen already if you've looked at some of the videos, when we first arrived there was trouble with visas. I got sent back, well, I wasn't sent back to the UK. I was not allowed to enter the Philippines, and so I had to go back on the flight. And without our close friends in Nottingham, I would have been really stuck, because I had to isolate myself when I got back to the UK, which I did. I then cheated a bit to get a COVID test, which of course was, thank goodness, was negative. It was a good outcome, so I could start going around. But without the help of our friends, we would have been absolutely stuck. It would have been a disaster. The observation I want to make is that getting a bank account here in the Philippines is not that straightforward, and is a bit contradictory. As a foreign national, I have to have my residency permit granted to be able to open a bank account. That residency permit takes a while to apply for. It's so far taken us 6 weeks because we have had to apply for police clearance, we've had to extend my existing visa, then we're going to be making the application, then that's got to be processed. All in all, it's going to take 3 months. So there's 3 months at least that you're without a bank account. Oh, don't worry. My wife's a Philippine national, she can get a bank account. She can't get a bank account until she's got what they call a TIN. A TIN, a T-I-N, is a tax identification number. She doesn't work, but she needs a TIN. So we've ended up that the person who's Rena, I've mentioned before, Rena is applying for a TIN for Risa as part of the process of registering the sale of property to us. You buy property, you have a contract of exchange, and then it has to be registered. And it's not as fast as it is in the UK. It takes time. So anyway, Risa needs a tin for that, so Rin is going to get a tin for that. When Risa's got a tin, she can have a bank account. But again, that's taking months. If you are relying on drawing money from the UK, which is okay, you can do it with the modern debit card cash machines, albeit only 10,000 pesos a transaction. You are going to pay heavily for that. You're going to pay an overseas charge, usually, for a foreign currency, and you are not going to get a good exchange rate compared with bringing currency here through another way. If you have a family member who you trust and is prepared to make one of their accounts available to you, great. But you still can't use the debit card because the shops want ID for the debit card that you're using. But you can use the local account to draw cash. So the working title is What to Look Out For and Advices. Things which may have taken us by surprise, or things which are pretty obvious but I have a sense need to be restated. So the two elements here: stay on top of the visa and be very careful with your airline. I'll come back to that in a moment. The difficulty with staying on top of the visa is that you don't have a real reason to be continually checking with the embassy or anywhere else what the travel arrangements or travel restrictions are. And we arrived at the airport with our new airline to be told they weren't sure that we could fly. After much backwards and forwards and them checking, we were told we could fly because we could get a balik bayan visa for me when we arrived. And we got caught over the weekend. We left on Saturday, we arrived on Sunday. Overnight, they'd changed the regulations. So I arrived without a visa, expecting to get a balik bayan visa. Not allowed to do that anymore. And I had to go back to the UK. So all I can say to you is be very, very careful, thorough in your researches at this time about what the travel restrictions are. It's a bit painful to leave your family at the airport. It's even more painful on your bank account. Stay on top of the travel restrictions and check those. Stay on top of the visa situation, and I can't give you any more advice than just look. And choose your airline carefully. There are only two airlines that we like to use. One is PAL, Philippine airline, but you have to fly into Manila, which I hate. And the beauty about Qatar is, although you come through the Middle East rather than flying over parts of Russia and China, you can come directly into Cebu. Not directly from Doha into Cebu. Long flight then, long flight. How are you going to move things that you want to bring when you emigrate? We did quite a bit of research. We looked at how much it would cost us to have a container, and that is not cheap. We talked to a lot of friends and looked on the internet, and the advice we were given was to use a balik bayan service. The issue is a balik bayan box, if you are bringing things to the Philippines which are your personal possessions, is not fit for purpose. It's okay for sending food parcels home, it's okay for sending clothes, but anything which is breakable will get broken. We put some precious things inside a stainless steel casserole. They were all carefully wrapped inside the casserole. The casserole was in the box. That was wrapped. When we opened the casserole, the glassware was broken. How the hell they did it, I just do not know. And the other thing is being very careful about what you want to take when you emigrate. What we need, based on the 5 weeks that we were here without our stuff, because it took so long, is way less than we sent. We were in the UK, I don't know, do we want to keep this? Are we going to pack this? Yeah, we do. When we got here, it's a good job we've got a big room in all of the roof space of the house that we can store things in. Because it's getting packed. Clothing, for example, we won't need that in the heat. You won't. Oh, but we'll use it for packing. We've got to protect things in the Balak Bayan box. Waste of bloody time. But be minimalist. I think if I were ever to do it again, I would be thinking I'm going to take the barest minimum that I can and try and keep stuff back in the UK with friends and relations, and then if I thought I needed it, I would pick it in the sense of having it sent when I knew that I really wanted it. So if you're buying land, you need a professional, a trustworthy professional. Absolutely. And by the way, as a foreigner, you can't buy land as such. Your Filipino partner can, but they will hold title to it. You will not. If anything were to happen to Risa, I cannot inherit this land, I cannot own it. Very clear criteria for what you want to buy as property. We had a location in mind. We needed and wanted to be near Mingnanilia. This is because it's where Risa grew up, it's where her school friends still are, it's where her sister is, it's where Rowan's cousins are. But at the same time, we didn't necessarily want to be right on top of, although we did think about buying the house next door to DJ. But they were being silly, they wanted an outrageous price for that. So, be very clear. We wanted somewhere which was in Mingnanilia, which we could build on, or we wanted a house which we liked, that we would buy. We were committed quite early on to buying this plot of land next door because we saw it and we liked it, and I particularly like where it is. Bless. And these guys have got a video of where they live, which is a subdivision. I'd never come across subdivisions until I came to the Philippines with Risa. But a subdivision is an enclosed area with houses and a security thing. The thing about subdivisions around here, like I'm not speaking about Mactan, I'm speaking about Mingnanilia, is that the property there is very expensive. 3 bedrooms or 4 small bedroom, probably terraced house in a subdivision would cost us more than this lovely house that we have here. And we had wondered about buying and selling property as a business. We've in the UK we've always done well in what we bought, the way we decorated it, the way we put it together, and then when we've sold it. We wouldn't be here if we hadn't managed to do that. We wondered about being able to do that here. I don't know, culturally, it's so different to here. So we were not sure whether the way in which we would do things would match here in the market. We know that people love what we do when they see it, but whether or not they would buy it. And I'm sorry, my brain's gone dead again. Oh yeah, the legal process though is time-consuming and lengthy. We had a conversation with an attorney yesterday, and he was saying, no, it's okay. The buying and selling property is good stuff here. We're still of a mind, We'll wait and see. We were committed to selling ours. I didn't really want to have an escape route. But because the sale fell through, we were pushed, I think actually luckily, into renting it. If you can afford to do that, the advantage of renting your property in the UK is that you still are, for tax purposes, in the UK, because you have to pay income tax on your property rental, which sounds like a pain in the arse. But actually, somebody pointed out you are then still entitled to the benefits of the UK health service if you can get your body back. Sorry, yourself back. That was a bit unfortunate, wasn't it? In this video, I have done my very best to point out to you the bits and pieces where we nearly made mistakes, or we did make mistakes. To point out to you the areas where you might be at risk and you need to take particular care. As I said earlier on, I can never recover for you all of the bits, all of the ins and outs. It just goes by. If you were to get the camera out and to do it, it would be so artificial and reconstructed, and you'd be preoccupied with videoing things at the time. We have, on my part somewhat reluctantly, decided to sell the plot. So after this introduction, there's going to be a bit of the film that I made for the plot. So that's the first thing. Well, welcome. We're selling our plot of land. This we bought before we came, and before we realised that we could buy the White House, which is the house on the right. I should have a script. The real reason for adding this piece is to go in the cautionary remarks for people who are thinking about moving to the Philippines. One of the things at risk, and experienced a fair bit of trouble to do with the boundaries. And it was only yesterday, when Rena came over, that we discovered quite what had happened. When you buy or sell a plot here, you have to have a survey, and a survey accompanies the paperwork that records the sale. A geodetic survey. Now, a geodetic survey specifies where the boundaries are of the plot, and you will find little cement, they call them monuments. They're about this big, sitting in the ground, and that's where there's a corner of the boundary. The engineer who did the survey when we bought the plot clearly got it wrong. And they have recorded the plot as being, where are we? About 1.5 meters, maybe 2 meters west of where the plot should be. That's caused some problems because when that's happened, it appears as though people have built on our land, or the land we bought. It appears that he said there's going to be some difficulties because, and you're going to have to adjust. And in the interests of my client, I'm warning you already that there will have to be changes. Things will have to be told. Things will have to be moved. Now, of course, that was quite upsetting. I had to have a new survey done. Rena, bless her, has arranged to do it with a surveyor that she really trusts. And later today, he will come over and talk to the neighbours about the new survey. Well, words of caution are definitely get a licensed land agent, an attorney, in fact, to do. It started to rain, and I'm going to have to move. Lighting not quite so good. There we go. There. Yeah, so definitely do get a lawyer, somebody who's trustworthy. That in itself can be difficult because I came across a video at a website of some people who had bought in Iloilo, can't say it, Iloilo, Iloilo, and they were scammed by policemen, amongst others. So it might not be as easy to find somebody who's trustworthy as a lawyer. The second thing is, compared with the UK, be prepared for a very flexible process. And one that's actually a bit difficult to understand at first. Lots and lots of copies of paperwork, very, very simple transactions. There is a duty of care, due diligence process that Rena's undertaken. And one of the things which makes a difference compared with the experience in the UK is there are no planning regulations here as such. And as a consequence, there's no search that you could do to tell you whether or not people may be building nearby. The other thing that's going to happen today is some people are coming to view the lot behind our plot, which we're selling, and we discovered that because yesterday a couple came up to the house and said, could they buy a right of way across the plot? Because they want to sell their lot behind, and the buyer for that, the prospective buyer for that, was asking about the right of way and access. But we won't, because if we take a strip out of that land, that'll be 3 meters taken out, and it then leaves a very narrow, long, thin lot that we would be trying to sell. That might not be difficult to sell, but then when somebody builds on it, they'll be building very, very close to our boundary, just to get the width to get a property on there. So we've had to say no to that. The response was interesting. Oh, well, we'll get our prospective buyer to buy your lot. Okay. Enough rambling. Life here is still fun. I still love it here. There's nothing more I can say, really, is there? Take care. Please, especially if you're in the UK, take care. And we'll chat to you again at some point.